Hi, Tom here, and in this week's Circle Line Art School video, I will show you one way, a simple way, to draw the impossible triangle out of cubes. First, draw a simple diamond shape. It needs to be wider than it is high, and the diagonal lines need to be parallel to each other. They don't get wider or closer together. Next, draw a vertical line going down from its middle base, and then we can draw two more parallel vertical lines, one on the left and one on the right, from the points on the left and right of the diamond, the original diamond that we drew. Now we can divide this column of 3 lines into cubes. Each cube is just made by drawing a diagonal line which is parallel to the diagonal line of the original diamond above it. We need in total 5 cubes, all stacked up on top of each other, and each cube needs to be the same height as the one above it. Next, from the baseline on the right, we can extend this baseline. We can repeat this for the next 2 diagonal lines which go towards the right, extending them further off towards the right. Now we can divide this shape into equal-sized cubes with vertical lines and also diagonal lines that can link up with the diagonal lines on the left-hand side of the original column of cubes that we drew. We need 4 extra cubes going in a row towards the right. Next, we can join the last of the 2 cubes on the right to the first cube that we drew with 3 parallel diagonal lines. From the second cube in our column, we could extend the second and third diagonal lines to the right, and this will create our last 3 cubes. Next, we can just erase 2 short lines, and they need to be the right-hand side of the first cube, its base, and the right-hand side, the right-hand vertical side. We can just tidy up the impossible triangle now a little bit too. Now, starting in the middle base of our diamond, we can darken this central line. Next, we can darken the left-hand vertical line here. We can darken the left-hand baseline at the base. Next, to darken the 2 right-hand vertical cubes from our column. Next, we could darken the 3 diagonal lines on the right. And then the 3 diagonal lines from the diamond going right. We now have the impossible triangle, a shape that you can draw in the 2-dimensional surface of a piece of paper, but you can't really make it in 3D. It's an impossible shape in that sense. Now, we can make this impossible triangle into a series of cubes. To do this, the first step is to make each of the lines, which isn't an outside line of the triangle, into a double line to separate all of the cubes that we already have, so they don't quite touch. As we do this, we could also check and make sure that all of our diagonal lines are parallel to each other. In this drawing, there are only actually 3 different types of lines. There are vertical lines, which are all parallel, there are diagonal lines to the left, which are all parallel to each other, and then there are also diagonal lines to the right, which are also all parallel to each other. Once you have doubled up all of the lines that separate the cubes, we can carefully erase the outside line just at the end of each of these double lines. Then, once we have done that, we can add the missing bit in these little areas to each of the cubes to make it look 3D and separate from its neighbours. Now we are ready to add some tonal values to this drawing, I think. With the impossible triangle, you could see it as 3 L shapes. So the first L shape could be a black tone, the second L shape could be a mid-tone, and then the last sort of L shape could just be the white of the paper. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you like it and find it useful for your own drawings. If you'd like to learn more, please visit my website, circlelineartschool.com. If you would like to keep up to date with all of the drawing tutorials on my YouTube channel, Circle Line Art School, there are now over 270, please click the subscription button. Thank you very much for watching, keep drawing and see you next time.